It's time to go back to school. This is part of our education segment here on Layback, and as the great scholar Billy Madison once said, boys, to prove to Dad that I'm not a fool. So we're going to continue on our education. Last week focused on speed maps. This week we're going to take a look at sectional times and career peak figures. What do these all mean, Jules? That's what we're going to be looking at today.
Yeah, it's just gobbledygook, mate. No Doyle rules. That's all we need to know.
Yes, love it.
No, it's, I suppose for the punters out there, you're trying to work off horses that have gone either in fast run races or slowly run races. And when you can work out whether they've gone in slow run races or fast run races. Now, for the punters out there that don't have standard times or anything like that, I think Racing Victoria now do for every meeting, like whether the race has gone standard or outside of standard. So that gives you a guide of whether the race has gone fast or slow. Now, we know every jurisdiction obviously also provides the last sort of 600, 400 and 200 sectionals as well. And so in a slowly run race, you know that the time is going to be outside standard. So it's impossible for the race to go fast, as we call it, or rate really well. But what you can get is the nugget out of it is you can match up the last 400 and 200 compared to the rest of the day. Now, if it outstrips the rest of the meeting by, say, a third of a second or even, a quarter of a second, there's something in there that horse possibly could be able to elevate again. And if it does get a fast run race, is it able to absorb it and become a really good horse in a good rating race? So the first part is you've got to try and find the type of race. Is it a slow race or is it a fast race? And then you work out the sectionals. Have they come home really good compared to the rest of the day? Always you've got to do it compare it to the day. And don't compare it to another track. Don't ever compare times on a different day, even if you think they were exactly the same situation. They're not. The wind could have been different. Any kind of different factors. Obviously, the track's going to be a different condition. Just be mindful of that, and don't ever think, oh, well, they ran a really quick time at Caulfield, but the 1,200 metres at Moonee Valley was 3 seconds slower, so that must be hopeless. It's just different. The standards are different for every track, so you've got to be careful to not get sucked into that. And then when you've worked out fast run race, slow run race, you'll eventually, once every blue moon, you'll find a golden goose where it's a really fun, fast run race, and they've come home best last 400, 200 of the day. And they end up being your group horses that you want to keep forever. They don't come around too often, but once you find them, you hold on to them forever and put them in your black book. But key factor is trying to find fast run races versus slow run races. If you've got a slow run race, I want to see last 400, 200 best of the day or close to the best of the day to give me some hope.
Brilliant. And I think what a lot of punters fall into is they see these fastest last 400, fastest last 200 of the day, and they put them in their black book. So we want to talk about a little bit about black books today as well. Are they a help or are they a hindrance in terms of how we use them? Do you personally use a black book? I know your mind is like Alan from The Hangover with just numbers permanently going around it. But do you have a black book yourself, or is it just all off memory from races?
We do one with Foxcatcher. We do one called In the Fox's Den, so we actually have our own black book system. But the key with that is I'll put a horse in the black book, for example, from 2 weeks ago, and I'll say this horse, I can't wait to see this horse again. But when I see that horse then nominate for a race or accept for a race, I'll go, it can't win that race. It's about finding the right race for that horse. So if I think, okay, horse was perfect, it was a perfect platform race, but they stay at 1,200 metres and I thought it needed to be 1,400 metres, just because it's in your black book doesn't mean it's a bet. You need to then go, okay, it's a whole different ball game the next time it runs. Does it still set up? And you do your form again and you go, yeah, it is a bet. Don't get anchored because it's in my black book. I need to back it. Yep. And that's, I think, what punters sort of do. They go, well, it's in my black book, I have to punt it. You don't. You've got to, again, analyse every race on its merit and work out, is it still advantage? Just because it might map poorly or something like that, there might be other factors you need to take into account. They're a great tool, black books, don't get me wrong. I think they're sensational, but they've got to be used sparingly.
Can I just jump in with a question? Do you back black book anything out of like a overall slow run race, or would you sort of just bin that race straight away?
No, I love slowly run races.
Something
because
that whooshes home, but then you want to see it in a fast run race too?
Correct. Yeah. I'd love to be able to get the fact that I've seen it in a fast race before.
Yeah.
If I haven't, I'm just going to trust that I reckon it can handle it or absorb it, possibly. In saying that, if it's a horse that settles always worse than midfield, I'm obviously
Just too
already
hard.
got the knock on it.
Yeah, too hard.
I want a horse that, a lot of my black book horses actually are horses that settle on speed
Yep.
and might get overrun in the last 100 metres, 200 metres, and they knock up and the race rates through the roof.
Yep.
Because you just want to be forward
You'd
in
rather
midfield
that.
with all your horses.
Because then when it does strike something that's a low pressure race, you're in the right spot.
Correct, absolutely. So, yeah.
From a training perspective as well for you, Reece, and there's no right or wrong answer here. We're seeing like some of the bigger stables in particular and younger trainers, and yourself, you're a young trainer on the rise, they're starting to use data a lot more to place horses. Is this something that you're going to be looking to do in your stable?
Yeah, look, something I certainly need to do. I probably don't quite have enough time of my own, but probably need to employ someone, Jules.
Yep, more than happy, mate.
But yeah, look, it's
He's a
certainly
renegade.
something you need. You need to
Mercenary,
use.
it's called.
That's it.
You need to use as much as you can
Yep.
these days. You know, there's so much technology involved. I mean, Ma and Yusuf are clearly at the top, and that's probably why they got such a great strike rate. I remember seeing their country strike rate only a few weeks ago. It was like 22%, and they've had like 400 runners. Like, it's massive. So yeah, certainly something I need to look into myself, and it clearly works. You know, facts and figures are facts and figures. You know, and as Jules says, I'm in the opinion. You know, I love. Not Gay Waterhouse, but I love to have my horses up on speed because you just, it's so much of an advantage straight away.
Yep.
And you just got to play to your strengths, you know. So yeah, that's certainly something I need to look into.
Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858.